There is a man who conquered the earth throughout the lands and oceans. For the people, his name is a sign of horror. This young man begins as king of the Sun Kingdom and then conquers the entire planet in 3 years. He is now essentially the world's ruler. However, with tremendous power comes great responsibility, and the common man regards the Sun King as a cold, heartless tyrant. He is a monster and everyone's worst fear. The Rain Kingdom is a land in the distance on the horizon. It may not be as prosperous as the Sun Kingdom, but it serves as its direct antagonist. While the Sun Kingdom is always sunny, and some people are unaware that rain exists, the Rain Kingdom, on the other hand, is always grayish-cloudy. Furthermore, the Rain Kingdom's residents have the extraordinary ability to produce rain by using their voices. It reminds me of my trip to London. The Sun King was aware of this talent, and as the dictator that he was supposed to be, he chose to marry one of the Rain Kingdom princesses. He issues an edict allowing them to continue as an autonomous country in exchange for allowing him to marry one of the princesses. Naturally, the 4 gorgeous Rain Kingdom princesses are aware of the Sun King's rumors. They aren't enthusiastic about becoming the king's bride, especially since he's requested them because of their power to generate rain. As a result, the 4 sisters decide to play a game of rock-paper-scissors to determine who will be sent to the Sun Kingdom. Nike, the youngest princess, loses and travels to the Sun Kingdom. She's braced herself for the worst, given the king's not-so-impressive reputation. She arrives at the Sun Kingdom's shore in an instant. It's late at night, but the city is alive and well. Things don't go as planned. Random, obnoxious robbers steal her belongings. Furthermore, the locals look down on her because she comes from a less prestigious kingdom. It's not a good situation. But suddenly, a lovely and loving family comes to her aid and even provides her with a place to stay for the night. They are genuinely nutritious. However, things have not yet settled down. This family's older sister, one of 2 sisters, is abducted for no apparent cause. Nike will undoubtedly handle the matter to repay the family for their generosity. So she uses her weather power to destroy the heinous kidnappers and then forces them to transport her to the palace. Finally, Nike has arrived at the Sun Kingdom's palace. She's determined and has already prepared for the worst. But the girl is horrified when she eventually lifts her head in the king's presence to see his appearance. This was not at all what she had anticipated. No one would expect the world's ruler to be a child. That's right, the Sun King, named Livius, is only 11 years old. Nike, on the other hand, is only about 15 years old. As a result, they are both fundamentally too young to be king or queen of the planet. As the shock wears off and the Sun King Livius realizes that the little girl in his presence is the Rain Kingdom's princess, he arrogantly commands her to call forth the rains only for his entertainment. Nike is a brave young woman. She wasn't going to simply obey the king's command, mainly because he appeared to be an immature, arrogant child. She becomes furious at being exploited for fun and begins stretching his cheeks. He then informs him that her abilities aren't as simple as he portrays them. She can't simply call rain unless the world's beauty strikes her. She can only bring out rain by experiencing and feeling the intrinsic beauty of the planet and its inhabitants. The king was not a particularly lyrical figure. He takes Nike's words literally and instructs the employees to prepare many items for her. Several gorgeous and exquisite gowns are available for her, as well as a lavish dinner course. Nike explains that she meant nature surrounding them when she said, "the beauty of the world." But, as expected, the monarch finds it challenging to comprehend. Another odd behavior leads to her coming to an important realization about the king. Livius appears to be a boy who cannot recognize the universe's intrinsic beauty. Although their relationship was still in its early stages, Nike naturally felt closer to Livius as she learned more about him. And she promises to show him that the world is still lovely. She had no idea how many dramatic scenarios would come between her and the monarch. When an arrow is shot at them, she is with Livius, trying to share the beauty of the earth. It is a planned assassination attempt against Livius. But Nike reacts instinctively and steps between the arrow and Livius, saving him. She gets shot in his place, but fortunately, the arrow does not strike any critical organs. This unexpected change of events, however, perplexes Livius. Their safety is no longer guaranteed, at least not for now. He decides to send Nike away in a safe carriage for now. But, while she is on the size of the assassination attempt was far more significant than before, and Livius would be seen in the crossfire sooner or later if nothing was done promptly. Nike leaps from the vehicle and races back to the castle. Right then, there was an urgent need for her abilities, so she summoned rain to put out the fire. The entire palace has been flooded, but Livius is fine. He slowly opens his eyes and sees a magnificent rainbow that arose after Nike's downpour. The Sun King couldn't help but smile when he saw it. Following this, a formal presentation of Nike as Livius's soon-to-be wife takes place in the castle. This gathering attracted a large number of high-ranking officials and aristocrats. In truth, a few aristocrats from another realm confront Nike in a garden. It's the elitism based on class. They refuse to acknowledge her since her kingdom is less potent than the Sun Kingdom. However, before Nike is made to feel inferior, Livius appears on the scene and openly attacks those aristocrats for insulting Nike. Not only that, but he then lies down in the garden, using Nike's lap as a pillow. If I may say so, it's an adorable time. Nike notices that Livius is exhausted. He may only be 11 years old, but the young man is quite conscientious regarding diplomatic concerns and other tasks. She encourages him not to overburden himself and to start resting more. But the monarch is annoyed because she tells him not to labor so hard, and the conversation ends abruptly. Nike saw it as her responsibility to look after his health. However, because it ended in an argument, she is emotionally injured and wonders if Livius truly cares about her. Later, while singing a song in her chamber, Nike recalls her mother. She also thanks the maids for constantly adorning her room with lovely flowers. They indeed inform her, however, that the monarch picks these flowers for her daily. This is one of the most family-friendly animes I've ever seen. Nike is ashamed, and while she calls him an idiot, she also realizes that this demonstrates how much Livius cares for her, just as she cares for him. Meanwhile, the party was still going on, and everyone was waiting for the princess to appear. Livius was becoming concerned because Nike had yet to arrive at the site. However, his attentive butler, Neil, requests that the king have some faith in the girl he has selected to be his bride. Music echoes across the hall as Nike enters, encased in rose petals distributed around the arena, utilizing her ability to manipulate the wind. It's a lovely sight. Nike grins, looks at Livius, and quickly expresses her gratitude to the guests who attended the ceremony. She then captures everyone's attention again by summoning the rain and singing in its beauty. Everything was going well until the Ministry of Priesthood decided to interfere with their love. Now, because they also determine who gets to marry into the royal family, their view is meant to be essential. And so they decide to call off their engagement for the same old flimsy reason. They claim she hails from a poor nation and does not have the right to marry the Sun King. Neither the monarch nor his queen, of course, back down. Nike and Livius are both adamant that they will marry each other. Seeing this, the ministry advises that Nike demonstrate her worthiness to be queen by taking on a ritualistic task known as the Rite of Illumination. She plans to infiltrate an ancient cave and then make her way to a temple. She'll locate a ring in the temple that she'll give the king as his wedding ring. The king isn't enthusiastic about her taking on this endeavor, telling her that none of the princesses have ever proven themselves through this experience. None of them were able to regain consciousness. There's a reason why none of them were able to establish themselves because the game has been rigged. In any case, Nike enters the cave and sets out to find the old ring. But it doesn't take long for the members of that ministry to surround and corner her. They share a vital truth concerning the Rite of Illumination here. It's not a test for the princesses to prove themselves, instead, it's a weapon for the ministry to use for generations to purge the princesses they believe unworthy of being the king's bride. They've kept killing princesses in this manner. Unfortunately, this ministry would soon be taking its first big step. Livius was also present, following Nike to ensure she did not harm herself. Together with him, Nike escapes down a secret tunnel known only to the king. Nike survives the night, and their engagement ceremony occurs shortly after. Not only did they not recover any antique rings from that cave, but neither Livius nor Nike prepared any additional rings. And now the engagement ceremony is happening in real time. There isn't a ring. This was when Nike had a brilliant idea to inject color into the event. She employs her abilities to create a white rainbow that forms a flawless ring around the sun. Because, Livius is supposed to be the Sun King. Both literally and metaphorically, this was a stunning and genuinely gorgeous display. But then, someone tries to derail the occasion by accusing the monarch of breaking the law. The king, it turns out, is not supposed to enter that cave. However, by attempting to expose the king's guilt, the guy inadvertently divulged that they intended to murder the princess. The assassins should have been executed for their crime at that point. However, Nike claims that it is better to forgive them, and so they are. The leader of these assassins sheds tears for Nike's charity and concludes by saying that Livius has developed into a better ruler due to her. Finally, Nike and Livius are formally recognized as an engaged couple at the end of the ceremony. That meant it was time to introduce a love rival into the plot because things can't finish without interminable drama. What happens is that a childhood friend shows up. Luna is her given name. She is from the Ocean Kingdom and Livius's self-proclaimed fiancée. On the other hand, the monarch thinks she's bothersome and can't remember a single time when he asked her to marry him. Anyway, Luna's days as Nike's putative competitor begin, and surprisingly, she can defeat Nike at almost everything. Of course, Nike is concerned by this, but not as much as Luna. The next day, she re-challenges Nike, this time in a game of chicken. For those unaware, it is a relatively well-regarded conflict model between two players offered by game theory. Sorry, but it's very intriguing. If you're curious, look up the game of chicken. In any case, they'd be racing their horses in this game. If you stop, you lose the game, but if you don't, you might tumble off the horse because they're on the same road and both are coming at you. Nike gives her the go-ahead, and a game begins between them. Things happen, and Luna eventually falls. She realized she couldn't possibly match Nike's feelings for Livius. Fortunately, Nike saves Luna by summoning the wind, although she is drained. Luna finally leaves Nike with a favorable impression. Regarding Nike and Livius, she finally addresses the king by his first name, and Livius responds by unexpectedly kissing her. Thanks for watching. If this series is the most liked in my anime recap production, I will make a part 2. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to help me make more content.